This kit comes with a lot of different things, and we're going to show you just briefly how to put them together. If you haven't worked with LEDs or with electrifying before, this might look a little intimidating, but it's really not very complex at all. It comes with, here this kit has 2 chip LEDs, a battery, and a coin cell holder that's made to fit this coin cell with an on-off switch. There's also 2 pieces of shrink tube. Shrink tube is nice for protecting the connections, and it shrinks down to half the size just with a little bit of heat. The first thing I like to do when I get my lights in is go ahead and light them up with the battery. And using this battery, you'll notice there's a shiny side and then there's a kind of rough side. It has a crosshatch pattern. The crosshatch pattern is the negative. The shiny side is the positive. The lights each have a red and a green wire. The red wire is positive, the green wire is the negative. So what I like to do is go ahead and take my coin cell and just put it between the 2 wires. Now that I have the light lit, I can go ahead and test it out and see where I want to position the light in my project. The light, if you look at it, is bright on one side and not so bright on the other side. So if I were to put this on a ceiling, I would put it with the not very bright side touching the ceiling and the bright side shining down into my room. I'll go ahead and light this other light. And you can see the same idea. Okay, so I want to connect these lights. I've got them located where I want in my rooms, and I want to go ahead and connect them now. What I'm going to do is slip my shrink tube onto my coin cell holder. Then I'm going to really firmly twist my wires together. So I'm going to gather, you can untwist these as much as you need to. I'm going to gather my 2 red wires together, and I'm going to gather my 2 green wires together. If you look very closely at the ends of these wires, you'll see that there's a little stripped section. I'm not sure if you can even see it on this video, but the wire is green until it gets to the end, and then you'll see a stripped section of copper color. And the same on the red wire. It's shiny red, and then toward the end it's kind of a dull copper color. It's the copper colored section that you want to connect to the metal on this little coin holder. The coin holder I think you can see easier. It's red. Toward the end it gets shiny. It's the shiny part that you want to connect. So I'm going to go ahead and twist these together. You want to twist nice and firmly. Kind of like if you're doing a bread tie. Go ahead and twist it up. Then slip your bit of shrink tube right over that connection. Now I've got my green wires going to my black wire. Do the same thing. Twist it up really good. Okay. Again, slip the shrink tube over. I wait at this point and don't heat my shrink tube until I slip in my coin cell. Make sure both lights are lit. If one of these lights wasn't lit, I would just take the shrink tube back off and do some more twisting. Okay, so now, how do I put the coin cell in? Well, on this coin cell holder there's a plus mark. That goes to the shiny side of the battery. If I slip this in, both my lights lit. Now I can press the switch. And this is a nice thing to do. Turn off the switch if you're going to store your lights over time. And then turn it back on when you want to see your lights. What would happen if I were to take this coin cell and stick it in upside down? You can see with the coin cell upside down, the lights don't light. but at the same time I'm not hurting the lights at all. So what I can do is just take it out and put it in the right way, and my lights will still light. So if you remember, we still need to shrink the shrink tube on our light set. The shrink tube is on, protecting our connections, but the last step is to shrink the shrink tube. You can shrink this shrink tube pretty easily with any kind of heat. An embossing gun, a hairdryer, even an iron, or a lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink the shrink tube. You can see it doesn't take very long at all to do. And once the shrink tube is shrunk, it's nice and firmly on the lights and it's not going to slide off. And that's it.